Hey, a FNAF game that's free to play. About time. Although the plot contrivances are hard to look past, so I guess you get what you paid for. After escaping Circus Baby's entertainment and rental, a 3v1 argument occurred off screen where Baby was voted off the husk of metal for some reason, and during the time between then and now, Baby had found the means to rebuild a body for herself. Weirdly, Ennard, now under the helm of Funtime Freddy, and Baby will continue to be allies against the player for the entire game.
The purpose of this tape is to test automated response times and reactions from vintage interactive attractions following audio stimuli.
No explanation is given as to why their reaction to audio stimuli is important when they're going to be hostile anyway.
Follow these instructions, document response times, then safely secure the space before leaving. Upon sealing the room, you are not to return.
Yet this nameless character will return here again and again throughout the game. Strangely, he will have to review Baby again on night 4.
Begin audio prompt in 3,
2, 1.
Not gonna kill the one person around when you have the element of surprise?
It's a new day. It's your time to shine. It's time to take your career into your own hands.
I feel like I just left an eye-rolling FNAF sequel and found myself in an eye-rolling presentation where you get $100 just for attending.
You've saved money your whole life. Great. Now it's time to put all your eggs into one basket and take a huge gamble on your future. What are we talking about? We're talking about becoming a Fazbear Entertainment franchisee.
I hope, based on the title of the game, that the restaurant you operate is all a simulation, because by the end of the game you will have spent thousands of dollars on a Saw-style fire trap. The cheese on that pizza is so real that it's turning this kid's teeth flesh-colored.
Aside from the daily risk of lawsuits, there's also the risk that something might be hiding inside whatever you just purchased with that steeply discounted price tag. Of course, that would only be a serious danger if there were something outside that's been trying to get in for months now.
That brings up an interesting thought. Ennard, Springtrap, and Circus Baby all somehow found their way to this specific location out in the open without anyone freaking out over metal spaghetti and a vomit-colored rabbit wandering around the city block. As far as I know, they don't have that magical device the Twisted Ones have that can alter their appearance to appear inconspicuous. Even though this is where the series officially jumps the shark, which is saying something, the simulation part of the game is the most charming part of it in my opinion. Helpy, the tiny Funtime Freddy dude, can serve as a nice pincushion for my very unsafe restaurant by being my test dummy for my attractions, and have to carry the burden of my financial irresponsibility by acting as my accountant determining how to allocate funds towards compensating a family whose poor child suffered injuries from said attractions. Just for making me laugh and actually have a fun time, I'll remove 2 sins for Helpy alone. But the office management portion returns to form in the most dull and trial and error way possible.
Your restaurant is now officially open. Awesome! That doesn't mean your job is finished, however. You have a lot of work to do while patrons eat their pizza in the other room. From your terminal, you have supplies to buy, papers to print, and repairs to make.
The restaurant isn't even real. Why do I have to sit in an office and do menial chores for it? It's like I'm Gus Fring running Los Pollos Hermanos, only if the whole purpose of its existence was to bring all of the cartel lieutenants together into the basement to burn them. I think a much simpler plan could have been thought of.
There is another aspect to your end-of-day routine, and that is inspecting and salvaging any animatronics found in the alley outside the back door. Things are found here quite often, and while we aren't sure why, what we do know is that they can be used for parts, which can mean a much-needed revenue boost before starting your next day.
Hand-waving the obvious question of why and how these animatronics turn up in an alleyway by explaining they can be used for salvage for a restaurant that isn't real.
Choose to keep it, and you run the risk of certain negative consequences, namely death, should the item in question not be as docile as it first appeared. If you do decide to try to salvage it, then you must complete the maintenance checklist. During this testing phase, check on the animatronic frequently. If you feel that it is becoming unstable, use the taser provided to you.
Regardless if you successfully complete the maintenance checklist, the animatronic you check will enter the restaurant. Yeah, no extra money if you fail, but the overall plan is to get all 4 of the loose ends in one place to destroy them all, so this whole salvage portion is meaningless to the story. Ennard, the intelligent robot that created the plan to cloak himself in human skin to blend into society, doesn't take the opportunity to kill a defenseless man even if you fail the salvage and he jump scares you. This passive behavior is shared by the other 3, all of which are assumed to be smarter than the average bear. Springtrap somehow looks better after being trapped in a burning building. Also, it's poetic that Springtrap finds his way out of one burning death trap and into another.
What a deceptive calling. I knew it was a lie the moment I heard it, obviously. But it is intriguing nonetheless.
This line suggests that Afton is aware of the manipulative nature of the player's role in this establishment, yet plays along long enough to get his just desserts. Also, I somehow got 200 returning customers on my second day when I only had 21 on the first day.
He's giving me the stink eye. So I give him the crook eye back, you know?
You don't really know who your employer is, do you?
Baby also shows awareness to the ploy, yet takes the bait anyway. The lefty suit serves as a cocoon for the puppet, which contains the soul of Henry's daughter Charlie, who is described by him as a protector of the innocent. Despite this, she will join the guilty in fighting an innocent person. Also, I have no idea why Lefty was even in the back alley to begin with when he was designed by Henry, even though Henry planned on destroying him anyway. Now that I really think about it, if Henry had Lefty this whole time before this plan even went into motion, why didn't he follow through with burning all of them as soon as Scrap Baby was salvaged? Also, Lefty is worth $5,000 in his salvage minigame, yet he's priced at $5 in the catalog. With all of that being said, this ending is extremely satisfying. Henry, having finally redeemed himself for the tragedies he had a hand at causing, relishes in his victory in a monologue that interestingly can double as endgame dialogue for the series as a whole.
This place will not be remembered, and the memory of everything that started this can finally begin to fade away, as the agony of every tragedy should. This ends, for all of us, in communication.
This can be further supported by the last line tutorial unit says after giving the player the certificate of completion.
Goodbye for now, and thank you for taking this journey with us.
I can even forgive the existence of Ultimate Custom Night following this as an epilogue to William Afton's fate being tortured for eternity by the demons he had created. I know I sound like I'm praising the series' end, but if this were the end, it would have been deserving of 20 sins off for a satisfying conclusion. But it ain't, as Help Wanted opened another can of worms that Scott keeps collecting. So instead, I'll add 20 sins for playing with my heartstrings.
Are you ready for my close-up? Smile! Are you ready for my close-up? Smile! Smile! Don't get distracted!
I have coins!
Oh, that's okay! Oh, are you ready for my Are you ready for my close-up?
Please deposit.
Not.
She looks like a bird that has
A bird with tits.